Hi there. If you're watching this, that means that your dog has successfully completed a board and train program with Canine Karma Training, so congratulations. The purpose of the following videos is to help you feel educated and prepared when bringing your dog home so that you can confidently continue their training. Your dog has learned a lot during their time here, so now it's your turn to learn everything that you need to know to ensure their success when transitioning back home. In dog training, one of the golden rules is that consistency is key. So the purpose of this video is to teach you everything to do and what not to do and exactly for how long to ensure that they continue to improve with you. So ensuring that you maintain the structure and boundaries for the appropriate amount of time is going to ensure that you do build that proper relationship with them, the same one that we did with them here, which allowed for all of this incredible success and all of this incredible improvement with us. Their training is not done when their board and train ends. You need to continue the training at home so that they continue to get better and better and better. However much progress we made with your dog, they should continue to improve exponentially with you. But in order to do that, they have to have the right relationship, specifically the right working relationship with you. We have built a very strong and correct working relationship with your dog during their time here. That's what allowed them to make all of this incredible progress. However, that does not automatically transfer to you. They have a lot of well-practiced skills, and we will teach you how to push those buttons and to use those skills, but the relationship with you needs to be built. So if you follow everything that I teach you in this video for the appropriate amount of time, you will ensure that your dog continues to improve for the rest of their life. In addition to these educational videos, you will also be receiving physical documents that will help keep you on track. The first and arguably the most important of which is the training outline and the schedule samples. The training outline is going to tell you exactly what to do every single day with your dog to ensure that they continue to improve with you. So in the training outline, you will see 3 different levels of structure: heavy structure, moderate structure, and light structure. During your dog's time here, they existed in heavy structure, and that's what they should live in when they come home with you. Heavy structure is treating your dog like they're in a board and train. So we always tell our clients, if your dog did a 30 to 45 day board and train with us, they should go home and do a 30 to 45 day board and train with you. And if you do that, your dog is going to continue to improve every single day. So in heavy structure, again, we do have schedule samples to show you exactly what a day in heavy structure looks like, but that basically means there's minimal to no free roaming. There is no time out during the day where your dog is just out for no reason, kind of just roaming around the house, especially when no one is paying attention to them. Your dog did not do that here. Every time your dog was out of their crate, they were supervised, they were doing something productive, they were in command, they were training, walking, we were playing with them, but we were doing something with them. The time that your dog just spent out bored doing nothing was very minimal, and if we did that with your dog at all, it was towards the end of their board and train. That bored time that your dog spends in that freedom is where we see a lot of behavioral issues arise. And because your dog didn't do that in the beginning here, they should not be doing that in the beginning of your board and train when you bring them back home. So your dog will exist in heavy structure where there is very minimal to no free roaming for at least the first 4 weeks of their time back home. This is a minimum. So if your dog is a younger dog, let's say you got them back home and they're 7 months old, they should be in heavy structure for the rest of their puppy life until they're an adult. If you have an adult dog, they should be in heavy structure for a minimum of 4 weeks upon their arrival back home. Again, this is a minimum, and it's just a suggested minimum for the average dog. If you have a dog with more severe behavioral issues such as aggression or anxiety or defiance, you may need to be in heavy structure for longer, and that is completely okay. There's nothing wrong with staying in heavy structure for a longer period of time, so longer than 4 weeks. There is harm in rushing out of heavy structure before your dog is ready for it. So progress with their behavior and progress with you is only going to happen in heavy structure, with structure and with training. It does not happen with free time where your dog is kind of just out and bored. If you need to stay in heavy structure for longer, I cannot emphasize enough that you need to do that for the well-being of your dog. The more structure your dog has, the more they thrive. The less structure they have, the more they crumble. So you want to maintain a higher level of structure for as long as your dog needs it, or really as long as possible, to make sure that they are continue to be successful. We have clients sometimes that ask, can I stay in heavy structure for the next year, for the next 2 years, for the rest of the dog's life? And the answer is absolutely yes. Your dog lives a happy and productive life in heavy structure, and there is no harm in staying there for longer than 4 weeks if that's needed. added. Your dog should not move out of heavy structure, meaning they should not be receiving more freedoms until their behavioral issues are rarely present. That means that overall, all the issues that you sent them here to work on have pretty much been extinguished or a thing of the past. You can't remember the last time that you struggled with anything with them. They were fairly perfect, as perfect as a dog could be. But they should be easy. You should not be struggling with them at all if you decide to move out of heavy structure. When you do move out of heavy structure, you'll be moving to moderate structure. And all that means is that there's a little bit less structure and a little bit more freedom added. At this point, you should only be here, again, if your dog is very easy and you're not struggling with them at all. If you do give them a little bit of freedom and their behavioral issues do arise again, that's not a problem. You just have to go back to heavy structure for a period of time because your dog was just not ready for that freedom yet. That usually happens if a dog is rushed out of heavy structure too soon. Now, moderate structure, again, it includes just a little bit of free roaming. So for example, instead of them having to be in a place command for 30 minutes or for an hour while you watch TV, maybe they're okay just laying on the floor and hanging out in the house supervised, but just kind of just laying there and being a dog. If you do decide to put your dog in moderate structure, you are going to be doing this for at least a few months. So in our training outline, we have it done or written through weeks 5 through 16. Now, if your dog is in heavy structure for longer, it won't be aligned exactly with that. But if you do decide to give them a little bit more freedom, do that for a long period of time, at least a few months. Don't give your dog a little bit of freedom for, let's say, a week, and then give them tons of freedom the next week, because that's where you're going to see issues arise. So in moderate structure, you give them a little bit of freedom. You're still continuing the training. You're still continuing many boundaries and lots of structure in their day-to-day life. But we'll see how they do with that little bit of freedom. And if they continue to do well, then you can live in moderate structure for the next few months. Now, the next and final level in our training outline is light structure. Light structure is what your dog will be existing in when there are no behavioral issues present. So you should not be struggling with any sort of reactivity, aggression, anxiety, defiance, or a combination of any of those if your dog is in light structure. Your dog will exist in light structure for the rest of their adult life until they are older or they're a senior dog, and there really is no need for any sort of active training with them. The next section in your document is going to be our permanent boundaries. Permanent boundaries are things that are permanent, which means they never change, regardless of how well your dog is doing. Whether your dog is in heavy structure, moderate structure, or light structure, these are things that need to be implemented for the rest of your dog's life. The permanent boundaries listed here are things that are very easy for dog owners to allow, especially if their dog is doing really well or is really easy. But it's important to remember that the reason your dog is doing so well is because of the proper working relationship that you have built with them. And that working relationship that you have with them that is allowing for their incredible behavior cannot be maintained without conflict if you break these permanent boundaries. These concepts were taught to you in depth during your initial consultation, but I'm going to quickly review them to ensure that you know exactly what not to do when bringing your dog home. So the first permanent boundary that should never be broken is absolutely no furniture. No couch, no bed, ottoman, furniture, chair. It doesn't matter if it's with permission or without permission. And it does matter if your dog is sneaking up on the couch or sneaking up on the bed when no one's in the room with them. They should not be allowed on the furniture at all. Your dog was never allowed on the furniture during their time here. So if you bring them home and you put them up on the furniture and you break this boundary with you, you're telling them that things are very different with you and they will act accordingly, and it will affect your working relationship. So absolutely no furniture for any reason. Next is going to be no unsupervised time or activities. Your dog should never be out unsupervised, whether that's in your home or outside, if there's no one there to pay attention to them. So if you need to leave the house to go to work or to go to the grocery store, they should be crated. Your dog should never be allowed in the backyard if no one can keep an eye on them. That's where they can get into a lot of dangerous activities. They can get hurt, or they can be exhibiting behavioral issues with no one there to intervene or correct them. So if you can't pay attention to your dog, just put them in the crate, let them get some sleep, because that's exactly what we did with them here. And finally, you need to ensure that you use your crate daily when your dog cannot be supervised, when no one is home, and overnight. Those are your minimums. Again, your crate is going to be your dog's safe space. This is going to ensure that they're getting sufficient sleep. It's going to ensure that you maintain the same structure that we did, and you start to build the right relationship with them. Your crate is a positive thing, and at this point, your dog is master crate trained, so they love their crate. The crate is one of the first worst things that people mess up when they bring their dog home just because the dog is so great, so let's just have them out with us all the time. But again, your dog's good behavior or progress with their training does not negate their need for sleep, especially a younger dog. So ensuring that you use your crate every single day when you can't pay attention to them, even if that's for 20 minutes while you hop in the shower or 10 minutes while you sit down and eat some breakfast. If you can't keep an eye on them, put them away, let them get some sleep, and let them have the structure of their crate. In your schedule sample for heavy structure, you will see multiple activities that we recommend be done every single day with your dog to maintain the progress of their training. One of the most important things that you will see is the use of the crate. The crate is utilized in between each training session, walk, place commands, etc. that you do with your dog. It's really important that you don't do repeated interactive activities with your dog without giving them some sort of break. So you will never see in one of our schedule samples that you take them out, train them, then immediately take them for a walk, then immediately play with them, then immediately do a place command. You will need to use your crate in between each activity to ensure that your dog gets a break, to decompress, and to rest. So using your crate in between interactive activities is extremely important, and that needs to be maintained. Also, your dog is not eating out of a bowl at all. It is actually specifically said in your schedule sample that you will be hand feeding them with their breakfast and their dinner. Now, that hand feeding can be done through obedience training or through eye contact. We highly recommend you practice the eye contact initially when your dog comes home because that exercise is incredibly important for building your relationship. So other than hand feeding and using your crate in between activities, you will see a training walk included. We recommend that your dog be walked at least once per day. Now, the schedule sample does include the possibility of taking them for another walk. So if you have time that day or if you feel like your dog would benefit from another walk, that is absolutely recommended but not required. If your dog gets a walk once every single day, then that is absolutely sufficient to continue their training. In addition to a walk, we also recommend a long place command be done every single day. A long place command is a place command that is between 1 to 2.5 hours. This is usually done with our clients at the end of the night when everyone is relaxing as a family or watching TV or reading a book. And you want your dog to hang out with you, but it is in a structured way. It's in a place command instead of your dog just free roaming the home and just doing whatever they like. So a long place command should be implemented every single day. We also have space for interactive playtime. Interactive playtime is an interactive play session with your dog that is extremely important for not only making sure that they have fun or getting sufficient exercise, but it's really important for building a great relationship with your dog. Interactive playtime could include fetch, tug, or an enrichment activity such as a puzzle toy, but something fun. Just because your dog is in heavy structure and their day is pretty, heavily regimented and supervised, that doesn't mean that it can't be fun. Heavy structure should be fun and productive for a dog. So interactive playtime, if you can make time for that, is extremely important. But if you follow the general activities of hand feeding your dog their meals, walking them, doing a long place command, using your crate, and also doing some interactive playtime when you have the time, your dog is going to flourish when they come home with you.